when you dropped that, there was a girl at the bottom right when you were playing crying.
Oh, really?
On. Yeah, absolutely crying. Hattie, our photographer, went, Dex, and she pointed me out and look. And there was a girl just crying in the breakdown.
I used to find it hard to play that track because for a while I kind of went, oh, you know, it's too happy, too cheesy. But now I know how much it means to people, you know, meeting people at club, and you see how much this means to people. I mean, I've had people saying they've got married to it. People said they've been playing it at funerals. I'm like, I was stacking the shelves in the supermarket, and there it was on the Sunday night in the charts. Braveheart, you take my Protect Your Mind, you know, the Braveheart theme, my remix, hitting the charts. And I was like, yeah, okay, I think I'm doing okay with these remixes now, so I'll just make the jump completely, you know.
Can you remember your first gig?
It was Bagley's. My legs were going, I could barely stand up. I was absolutely terrified.
It's lovely to see you.
And you too.
Yeah, when we decided to do the podcast, you were like kind of top of the list because of what we do together at Kevin and Perry. And I didn't want to really interview people until the podcast gathered a bit of momentum, and now it really is getting some momentum. We're getting lots and lots of views, and I thought it would be the right time to speak to you. And I always do a lot of research on guests. Now, something that's really surprised
Hopefully not
me.
too much.
No. We'll keep that between us. And I used to play a lot of vinyl back in the 90s, and when I was going through your records, your remixes and stuff today and yesterday, I didn't realize how many of your tunes I actually had, because I used to just flick through them. I never used to take much attention of the name. It was always like I could recognize the sleeve, you know. Yep. I don't know whether you know this. I know Vicky Devine is very much like that as well. She doesn't really know the names of the tunes. It's like,
yeah, that's something we've lost with the digital for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I was just going through just discography, or if that's how you say it, and I was just like, I had that tune. And, oh my God, you're prolific. You know,
it'd actually be worth some money these days as well.
Yeah. Oh, don't. And I was just like, I couldn't believe that so many of the tracks I actually used to play all the time were remixed or produced by you. So yeah, it was a real pleasure, and it was actually I was like, it took me back 20 odd years. And then now I've got the interview of you. It was weird because I had no idea. Even I've known you for several years that you made.
Thanks for buying. Maybe I should send you a few freebie. My new retrospect vinyls to try and help you out and build it up again.
Where are you originally from?
Shrewsbury, which is up in the Midlands, kind of on the Welsh border near Wolverhampton and Birmingham. So, yeah, but not lived there for 25 years. Been down south for
whereabouts down south?
I live in Milton Keynes at the moment, actually.
No, really? I know Milton Keynes. I've had a lot of Milton Keynes. I used to watch Wimbledon when they went up there.
Yeah, it's so
many years ago.
Yeah.
I used to go to quite a lot of raves there as well back in the day. With the world
there's
dances.
Not so much going on now, although Unit 9 here is a great night. I played it a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Really good night, yeah.
I think they're doing some of the old the old world dance raves, dreamscape type things are popping up, aren't they? Some of the places. And when did you start getting into like the whole electronic music thing?
Well, I suppose I was kind of waiting for it almost, you know. I remember being at school and college, and it was when, the sort of all the indie was the Charlatans and all that. And I was like, I'm not really into this, but I was going to these nights, you know. And then eventually I started discovering stuff like New Order and the late 80s, just the dance stuff just kicked off, and I knew that that's what I was totally into. So
yeah. And so can I ask, you started off more of a producer, is that correct?
I did, yes.
And then you moved into the DJ world, and we've just obviously discussed that you've created a lot of tracks. what made you start producing?
Do you know what? It was just simply having a keyboard, a little keyboard bought for Christmas or whatever it was, you know, from
No
my mum
way.
and dad. And I realised I enjoy making music. So when I was like 16, 17, I thought, you know, I was really sort of getting into it. And by the time I was on A-levels, I thought, right, I do want to be involved in it. At first, I thought I'd be a sound engineer or something. Didn't ever think I could be a proper producer. And so, yeah, then it just took off from there, really.
And so you can play the keyboard, and you were pianist, or was there any musical
Not at all.
background?
No,
Okay, all
none whatsoever.
self-taught.
Yeah, all self-taught. Yeah, my dad can play the piano. He was trying to get me to do piano lessons and that when I was a kid, and I was like, no, you know, reluctant. But in a way, I'm glad I didn't, because it's more fun when you kind of work it out yourself, you know.
I had piano lessons and I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
You've got to want to do it, I think.
Yeah, I loathed it.
absolutely.
I saw a girl at my school play the piano, and she played it amazingly. And I was like, oh, I've got to give that a go. But when I started, I realized how much I hated it. And I went through a year of just loathing these lessons. And then, and like yourself, I went to the School of Audio Engineering, SAE. So I wanted to be a sound engineer as such. But then I found out I was terrible at that as well. And that was kind of just around the time after I got burgled. And then it was just like, yeah, I'm off to Ibiza. And started just promoting parties over there. And so you obviously chose the trance path. And how did that happen? Was that just an organic thing where you just fell into it?
Yeah, it was completely organic, really. I was getting into, you know, the sound of Perfecto, Platypus, all those sort of earlier sort of trance labels. Yeah. And my sound was kind of moving that way as well. I mean, I went for a phase where I was sort of making stuff with a few more beats. You know, we had the rave culture. I was sort of like tagging onto that at one point before anything was released, obviously. And yeah, I thought, this is what I love, this music that can really get you going, you know what I mean? So yeah, it just seemed a natural path for me to go into. And without being a DJ as well, I was all of a sudden I'm making club records. It's kind of weird.
Wow, I remember the Platypus stuff. I always used to get Platypus records from HMV, I remember.
Yeah.
And Positiva. Additive, is that your is it Additive or
Additive was the first label that signed me? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what triggered me this morning, because I saw the label. I was like, oh, I had loads of them. And then I started going through. Yeah. And then I started going through them, and then so I started yesterday, and I was like going through them this morning, just looking at. So I knew you had a vast amount of remixes, and I was like, oh my god, he made that as well. He's made that as well, and then remixed that, and I was just like, so it made me even more excited to speak to you this afternoon, because it really did trigger those memories. I used to love DJing in the bedroom at my mate's house. You know, when it wasn't like a bit of it was just a hobby then, you know. It wasn't like, but you want to be a famous DJ. It was just because it was real fun, and you did it with your mates and an after party after you've been out or something. And so kind of, was there like a moment when you realized that you were going to do this for a living, that you were good enough to do this?
Yeah, it took a while, actually, because basically, so I came back from uni, and I said, right, I want to be an actual producer. And I'd learned quite a bit at the course I was on. It was supposed to be like a sound engineering course. It was one of the earliest ones, but really it was an electronics course with a little bit of sound engineering a week, you know?
Yes.
But the main thing I took away from that was knowing what I needed to get equipment-wise. So I started buying the Atari ST, the S950 sampler.
Yeah.
You know, use a student loan to get a DAT machine, you know, all these kind of things.
No way.
So I was gradually building up. And then when I got home, I thought, okay, I moved back to my parents' house for a short while, and I started just spending lots of time like working in the local supermarket just so I could do music as well at the same time. And the moment I think I realised, okay, now it's time I can make the jump, was I was stacking the shelves in the supermarket, and there it was on the Sunday night in the charts, Braveheart, You Take My Protect Your Mind, you know, the Braveheart theme, my remix hitting the charts. And I was like, yeah, okay, I think I'm doing okay with these remixes now, so I'll just make the jump completely, you know.
Fantastic. I was speaking
quite surreal.
I was speaking to Slip Matt, and I was like, Matt, when did you realise that you were going to make it? He goes, I kind of thought it was something when we got onto Top of the Pops. It wasn't even because it was so back in the day. It was like there was no real work journey to being a DJ and producer. Then it just happened, and it was a hobby. But I just identified with two things that you said. Then I did. I went to university as well and did like some sort of. I can't even remember now because I didn't do it for long because I was so rubbish at it. It was like a music sound engineering course, but it was more electronics.
Oh, yours was as well, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I hated it. I'd be big textbooks and the lecturers. It was really advanced, and I was just like, I remember the first lesson we had, and no one knew what they were doing, and it was so advanced for what the stage we were at that I just didn't enjoy it at all.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it much either. I mean,
mm,
I still passed it, but just about. But I mean, that wasn't really important. Like I say, I went back knowing what I wanted to do. Didn't know
yeah,
how I was going to do it. You know, I didn't have a business plan, had no connections. Being in Shrewsbury, you know, I just felt quite isolated in that respect. So I was amazed. I was amazed really that I got my break. But
It
it
was funny
happened.
that you said you spent your student loan on a DAT machine.
Yeah.
I spent my student loan on 1210s.
Did
I
you
went,
really? See, I didn't
yeah,
go that. I wasn't at that point remotely interested in DJing. It was actually Judge Jules that got me into wanting to DJ because I remember, obviously, he used to support quite a lot of my stuff on his shows,
yeah,
and he started inviting me down to the clubs and stuff. And I thought, well, maybe I should be doing this, you know. But it wasn't in me to be like that big showman, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
nonetheless, I got the decks anyway, and started playing around and had my first gig, and I thought, oh, maybe I can do this, maybe. But
Wow, yeah.
and here we are.
I was with Judge Jules last week, or was it a few days ago, when we were talking about he could literally play anything he wanted on radio. He
Yeah,
didn't. There was no set list. There was no playlist. He said there was like a playlist in the daytime, but he had complete creative freedom at
yeah.
night. I was just like, wow, that's amazing. But yeah, I remember getting my 1210s, got my student loan. I was straight down Tottenham Court Road with my mum. She wasn't best pleased. And I went into Tottenham Court Road and got my 1210s and never finished university. So was there a breakthrough track or remix that changed everything for you? Or was it when you're stacking shells moment?
I suppose it was the stacking shells moment in some respects, but I mean, also the actual way I got there in the first place was sending a demo into a magazine, Future Music magazine. Do you remember
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one?
Of course I do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Used
Yeah.
to buy it all the time, work out what I needed. You know, I remember articles with Prodigy and stuff, and thinking,
Yeah.
oh, okay, he's using this keyboard or that sampler. So I used to read that religiously. And finally, I'd sent a demo in one time, and it got featured. And
Ah.
I got contacted by somebody in the business, wanted me to send more stuff, and that's how I got my Additive deal in the end. So
Yeah. What year
very
did you
lucky.
get that? The Additive deal?
The Additive deal was 97.
97. That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's my university days. So I definitely had a lot of your stuff around about then. And that was actually going to be my next question, who your first record deal was with. And did you do a lot of stuff with them?
Yeah, they were the ones that got me into remixing. Actually, they got me to remix. I think I did a remix for DJ Quicksilver, Planet Love, but they didn't accept it. I
Ah,
was a little bit gutted, but it was my first remix attempt.
yeah.
And I think the first one they accepted was Sosa the Wave, which Jules
Okay.
played on radio. So that kind of blew up a little bit for me.
I'm going to put all the
And
links in the description below, by the way, of every tune you mention on here,
oh,
just so
really?
people, just so people can go and check them out. What was I about to say? I had a question then for you. Don't worry, this is going to be edited. Um, did you ever feel any pressure to perform and actually move over from being just like a producer to a DJ? Or was it just like you thought when you were being invited to clubs from Jules, people like Jules, that you thought you had to add that to your skill set?
I didn't feel any pressure. I think a few years later I would have started to feel pressure because obviously the music industry really changed. It was a lot harder to make a good living out of music. In fact, it went off a cliff. So I'm kind of lucky to have, taken that step into DJing, even though I wasn't that person who wanted to be on on stage in front of everybody. But I wanted to do it because it was just another fun thing to do. So
Okay, so it's nice to hear that you're a DJ that actually didn't want to be in front of people and be the main figure, because obviously it's a lot different nowadays, isn't it? It's like the DJ is the focal figure, and yeah. So I was thinking of a question a minute ago, and it's just flashed back to me. I'm going to be really geeky now. A lot of people, what is the difference between what is a remix? Because a lot of people won't know the difference between just a normal track and a remix. How do you sum that up? Because you've done a lot of remixes, haven't you?
Yeah, remixes can be either just a straightforward, you take the stems or the parts of a track and you sort of reorganize it in a different way. That's what the old remixes used to be.
Okay.
So somebody would like mess around with like the old, tapes that they had, and they'd make a new version. Maybe they'd add a drum loop on it or whatever. But some of us, particularly in trance, I think it happens, and particularly in those days, 20, 25 years ago, you'd really try and put your stamp on it. So some of the remixes I did, I used to pretty much rewrite most of it. If I had a vocal, I'd do my own thing, trying to be, take it in a different direction. So yeah, it can really be just a sort of just a subtle change, if you like, into a different genre or whatever, or it can be a complete rewrite. It's up to the remixer and or what the label wants you to do.
And that's off. So you basically rearrange an original track.
You rearrange an original track, yeah. You normally get sent parts and stuff, Obviously, if it's a vocal track, you get sent the vocals. Sometimes there's no parts, you just get sent a vocal.
Okay, and you just build around it, yeah?
Just build around it, yeah.
Okay, and what's the difference between a remix and a bootleg?
Well, a bootleg is an unofficial mix of two tracks.
Right, and it's without permission, isn't it?
And it's generally, until you get permission, yeah. I mean, people do get permission. Obviously, Tokami was one of those big ones, wasn't it? That was a bootleg originally.
I have a friend. I'm not going to mention him on here. He was a prolific bootlegger, and some of the tracks that you hear that went huge in Ibiza on like Bora Bora and stuff were bootlegs. And yeah, I used to live with him, but he was a absolutely prolific bootlegger. And so is there any, I mean, how do you pick what to remix? I mean, you just get sent so much stuff, or is it, how is that process?
Well, you can either headhunt it yourself, like,
yeah.
These days, occasionally there'll be a track and I just say, "Oh, can I do a version of that?" I think I can add a different angle. But back with the days we're talking about, more 25 years ago, I actually had a remix manager at one point. He was like procuring remix work for me, and that's why I did so much in 98, 99. Is because I had a remix manager. He was just getting me everything, and because of some of the bigger ones I had, I was quite in demand. So my schedule was just like every 10 days was a new remix. But,
how many tracks have you released?
I don't know. I think it's a few hundred now. It's got to be a few hundred with the remixes, yeah.
I mean, 98, 99, what a couple of years that was.
I did a fair few.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I did notice that actually as a trend when I was looking at your background, that a lot of them are from that sort of era. But it was a great time for music, wasn't it?
It's not a bad time to have put the real effort in, for sure.
Yeah. And what year was your first journey into DJing?
I started DJing around 2001.
So you were just producing through that, and then started in 2001.
Yeah, I think I got the Dex in 2000 or something. But first gig was 2001, I think.
Can you remember your first gig?
I think it was Bagley's.
Really?
Yeah, I think Additive probably set it up, actually. I think it might have been an Additive night.
Friday or Saturday, was it Freedom or something like that?
I'm pretty sure Ariel was playing. Would that have been a Friday or Saturday?
Freedom, yeah. But that was, we used to go there quite after we were Strawberry Sundays and Bagley's. And Ariel was there. And Kirk Field, you know Kirk?
Oh, the writer Kirk.
Yes. He was their press manager for Bagley's at the time.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually know that.
he was
He's all over the place in this industry back then.
Yeah, he was my first ever podcast guest, and because he was releasing his new book, and we had a good chat about Bagley's. What a place that was! I mean, with some great stories. Like, I only stuck to a very small circle of clubs back in the day, like the Cross, Bagley's, Satellite Club, Strawberry Sundays, and Sunny Side Up, and 414 Club. But they were, because we had like a little community. Like a lot of the genres were very community led, which I'm probably going to come into in a minute, about music today and genres. You've quite had a typical signature to your music. How do you balance that, your signature and club energy? How do you put it all together in your sound? Is it difficult to do?
It's quite tricky actually, because I've got a little bit of soundtrack in me. You know, I want to make really emotive music,
Yes.
and of course that doesn't work on the dance floor if you make it too long. And I was famous for making my breakdowns far too long. I remember Jules actually saying, "Stu, your breakdowns are way too long for the dance floor." And of course, I wasn't a DJ then, so I wasn't really thinking in DJ terms. But the way I work it now is I have that in mind, and I give myself the opportunity to do other tracks that are a little bit more, have the space to do that kind of thing, that perhaps don't get as big, but they're me expressing that kind of soundtracky, more sort of like, Journey kind of stripped back sort of sound. But yeah, the holy grail is to have a track that has that emotive feel, but the energy as well.
But you do have that all the time. Many of your tracks are just like you will listen to it, and then an hour later you'll be humming it to yourself, which I always find is a sign of a good track. And many of yours are like that. So if you were DJing, how did you test run your tracks? Did you just, obviously you gave them to DJs. Did you ever go to the clubs, or did you just get the feedback from the DJ, or a bit of both?
Initially, in the early days, I wasn't really testing them as such. I was just going on label feedback.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I'm amazed they didn't tell me to cut down some of those long breakdowns, like Happiness Happening, really stupidly long breakdown. I mean, the version I play now, much shorter.
Wow. Yeah. So Jules picked up on it, did he?
Jules did. Yeah. I remember actually doing a remix for his label, and he came to my house and he was determined to cut this bit out, that bit out, and he was right. You do need you can't have too many of those long breakdowns on the dance floor.
I had a really
now and again.
Yeah, I had a really good chat with Jules the other day. His podcast is coming out very soon, and he's such an intelligent guy. And just from what he achieved as an unofficial legal promoter, then the DJ, then retraining on the quiet to be a lawyer, and then being a lawyer, then the music practice and doing the band, and it's just like, wow, he's got a lot going on up there. How he's
a driven guy. He's a driven guy.
Really driven, but super clever.
Absolutely.
And I was kind of like, I went away from that interview, was like, I've worked with Jules on his socials for many years, and I didn't really have a lot of communication with him one-on-one, because he was always traveling. It was mainly, I was working through his manager, but to have a really good one-on-one chat with him, I really got to feel how driven he was. He is. So I've already asked you how many remixes you've done. So I think there's one track that is big with us, with what we do together at Amnesia, Follow Me. How did that come about? What's the story behind that track? When was it made? And did you think it would lead to be such a, I mean, everyone loves the track today, still, even more so.
That track came together after I remixed Remember to the Millennium.
Yeah.
And after that, they were really happy with it, and they got in touch with me and said, "Look, should we do a track together?" And I said, "Yeah, great." So I sent them some chords over. They started recording the vocals, sent them over to me, and then I built the track. So it was a sort of a little process that was going on, and it started, I think, in 2000. And then came Tim Binns, from New State Entertainment, who was organising the music for Kevin and Perry.
Yep.
Obviously, Jules curated the music as well. And they said, have you got anything? We'd love to include something from you, in the film. And I just happened to be working on Follow Me, and I sent it them. And I was kind of expecting them to say no, not quite right for the film. But they said, no, we love it. Let's do it. So got the track finished, and it became part of the film. And I remember them asking me to make a few extra little bits for the film, incidentals that fitted throughout the film.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. I can't believe it. 25 years later, it's still a popular track.
Did it? I mean, has it blown up again since we've been doing the parties as well? Has it? A lot of the classic stuff has come back as well, hasn't it?
It's both really. Yeah, I think the classics generally have come back, and there's a lot more people making that kind of classic sound as well, which is
we're getting older,
promising. Well, we do need some new classics coming through, though. We do, for sure. But Amnesia has obviously been part of that as well. But that's one of the few tracks on Spotify that just keeps growing for me.
Wow. I don't know whether I've told you this, but last year when you dropped that, there was a girl at the bottom right when you were playing crying.
Oh, really?
On. Yeah, absolutely crying. Hattie, our photographer, went, Dex, and she pointed me out and look. And there was a girl just crying in the breakdown. I was just
I used to find it hard to play that track because for a while I kind of went, it's too happy, too cheesy. But now I know how much it means to people, I mean, I spend a lot more time talking to people, meeting people at clubs, which I really enjoy doing. And you see how much this means to people. I mean, I've had people saying they've got married to it. People said they've been playing it at funerals. I'm like, oh, crikey,
wow, bloody hell.
So...
Well, I'll be strictly honest with you. When we first started the Kevin and Perry shows, it wasn't a track that I was like, oh, this is going to be like the track of this. This is going to be the soundtrack for our promo, or it's going to be the track of the night. It was never like that because the soundtrack was good anyway, and it's just flourished as the tune, or the core tune of the night now. And I think everyone waits for it. I think I was standing in the green room, the little green room at the back of Amnesia, that tiny little thing. And all of a sudden you dropped it, and Nick Ferguson, you obviously know Nick, he just legged it because he heard it come on straight away. And obviously we all want to record it. And some of the films and the footage we've got from that track are just amazing. But we wait for the tune all night, and I think everyone does now.
So, well, it's for me. Obviously it's the place to play it.
It's Amnesia, man. I'm really looking forward to it this year. Its sales are great. Buzz is great about it. We've got Sashi Chicane.
I love that. That was such a good idea.
Oh, we've been trying for a few years, Stu, to pull it off, but it's been nice just to, after a few years, finally getting them together, because Chicane wasn't available before. He was doing a lot of studio work, and we finally got them in each room. So it's going to be spectacular. Obviously, Oki as well is joining us this year, Mr. Oakenfold.
Yes,
which is great because I think he's one of the key figures at Amnesia over the years.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
To have him in there is just unbelievable. But to see the show grow and grow and grow and grow every year, it's wild, especially considering it was an after party idea that Nick and Brewer had.
Well, I've been fortunate to witness it grow every year.
It's been absolutely awesome.
It's been bigger and better every year for sure.
Yeah, I mean we do. As I said this in previous interviews with people, we do strip it back. We get the lasers in, we get smoke machine going, the CO2 broke down one year, granted, but we really try and get like the glow stick element and take it back to that sort of vibe. And do you feel the energy is quite different there?
It's absolutely immense. I mean, the thing is, don't forget, I wasn't DJing until 2001, so I didn't get that 99, 2000 experience in Amnesia, you see. Not DJing anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a second chance. And it is like that still,
It's crazy. I mean, I look at some of the videos, and we just got the promo video back Mark de Groot. We've held on to it a bit this year, and the energy is just like, my God, and so that's being released next week. But yeah, it's great just to see not so many phones in the air and people just proper dancing. And I know people in their 70s coming this year. I know people bringing their family, their daughters.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really great fun, and it's organically growing. We're not really shoving it down people's throats. It's people are just naturally coming out for that week now. So moving on, do you remember, when did you start playing internationally?
Quite early on, actually. 2001, I think.
Straight away, yeah.
Straight away, pretty much. Right. Yeah, I was thrown in the deep end, really, to be honest.
Okay. And do you remember your first Ibiza gig?
It was probably S Paradise. I think everyone starts at S Paradise.
S Paradise is great. I mean, it's just such a beautiful club.
Yeah, I always loved it. Always be in my heart. As the first club I ever went to in Ibiza as well. So
I walked in there my first year, and my flatmate in England said, "You've got to go to S Paradise. The whole club fills up with water and this and that." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." And I moved over to San Anne, and when I walked in there, I was just like, "Oh my God, it's just stunning." Because I went in there in the daytime originally, because I had a meeting with one of the PR. I was going to be a PR for S Paradise, and I just walked in the club, and I was like, "Oh, wow, it's just insanely beautiful."
Very, very beautiful.
Yeah. When you're playing abroad, do you have to play differently in different territories? For example, in Europe, would you play differently in Europe, say maybe Asia or the US, or?
Yeah, it really varies. It varies, of course, if it's a festival or if it's more of a club event. But I mean, generally, some places like it harder. If you're playing in the Netherlands, they like it a bit harder. Asia can be quite different all over the place. I mean, a few years back, it's been a while since I've been to China now, but when I was playing in China, it was very different.
In what way?
Well, I'm talking about like 8 years ago now. It was the last time I played in China, and it was just so much about it. It was far more about the bottles of champagne, this, that, and the other.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had an experience of really having to play different. I never went full EDM. And I refused to go that far that way. But I was playing the best of EDM.
Yes,
the trance elements.
The big room type stuff.
Yeah, it was more big room stuff. But
yeah.
But so I have to do that a little bit, when you get into these different events. But now, to be honest, I'm playing mostly in the UK and Europe, which I'm actually really enjoying. I was getting fed up with the long hauls, and they were really becoming so tiring, and also once you've done those long hauls, it becomes work. If you can get enough work in the UK and Europe, then it's far more fun to do that.
Yeah, of course, and obviously it gives you time to be in the studio as well.
Time in the studio, yeah. You don't come back completely, delusional. Where am I? Kind of thing, which was happening when he'd be in America one week, Asia the next. And time to spend with family and friends and stuff.
Of course. How much production work are you doing these days?
Still doing a fair bit. Not as much as I should be. There's always stuff to do. I run my label as well, create music, and gigging most weekends at the minute. So, doing a couple of days a week at least.
Okay. And when you get booked for a gig and you turn up, are you still excited about getting behind the decks, or is it a case of muscle memory? Yeah, it's not going through the motions, because I've seen some DJs and I don't know, they just seem to be not as excited, but then when you speak to them afterwards, they were like, "Did I do okay?" And these are really experienced DJs who've been like playing for 30 years, and they're like, "I was really nervous beforehand," and I was like, "What?" Especially Amnesia. And a big event. And I was just like, "You were fine." And it's just like, I won't mention any names, but these are people who've been playing 30 years, and they told me that they were actually nervous before they went on.
I can't remember a time when I haven't been nervous before I go on. I always get those last minute,
Really?
Takes a few records, and then you get into it. Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting
to get into relaxing.
When I used to But I used to my hands used to shake when I was playing on vinyl when I first started playing. I used to play a lot, and the first couple of tracks you'd have the hand shakes on vinyl, and then you'd slowly get into it, you know. But just to hear it still happen as to DJs that have been in the scene for decades is fascinating.
The funny thing is that first gig in Bagley, as I was talking about, I don't think I could. My legs were going. I could barely stand up. I was that scared.
Oh, you just don't want to go. You don't want to actually go on, do you?
I was absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
But now I just still get that nervousness. It's really just, you feel the pressure. You want to do a good job at the end of the day. But yeah, it normally takes one or two tracks in, and you're with it.
I think it's
I just try and enjoy it as much as I can because I love the music so much. If anything, I love the music more now because I understand
what it does to
how
people,
special it is, and what it does to people. Yeah.
What would be one of your favorite experiences, DJ wise? Is there any particular crowd that you played to that stands out, or any clubs that you played to that?
That's a tough one. I mean, I've played so many like bigger events, which are obviously a rush to play, but smaller events where it's just been the people. I tend to hang around a little, meet people, enjoy the experience of the night, and so I've had so many great experiences. If I had to pick one that springs to mind, especially early on, it would be my first visit to Helsinki, which was one of my early gigs in 2001, I think it was. And I was playing an event that went on till like midday the next day, so it was like an all-nighter.
Wow. Yeah.
I cheated. I got up at like 3 a.m. and after a bit of a kip, had some breakfast and went down and I think I played 6 or 7 in the morning. And I remember it was like by a dockside, and it was a big warehouse they obviously used for something or other. And when I was playing I Believe, one of my tracks.
Yep.
They opened the roof and let the sunshine in, and it was like, whoa, you just saw the sunshine like beaming in.
Yeah.
But there's loads of experiences like that. I mean, Amnesia the last few years has been absolutely amazing as well.
Yeah.
To be back in there and seeing it go off, especially for where the DJ booth is now as well. You're really in the action. I love it.
Yeah. A lot of people say, well, why is the DJ booth not high up how it is? But I think it's nice where it's down and you're right in with the crowd. And
I think it's much better there.
Yeah. Amnesia's just a great club. I just get a special vibe every time I walk in there. It's the only other club I felt like that was Space. Space, I always used to have a similar feeling when I went in there. I was just like, oh my God, it's just amazing. And I suppose the early days of the manumissions and things like that. But Amnesia, every time so when we're going in there and we start setting up for the night, it's just a special aura it has in there. And I always take a photo of the dance floor empty and I post it on the day, and everyone is shocked because it's like, it's a wide, you just use an iPhone and they're like, oh my God, it looks so small. Because I don't know if you've ever seen it in the daytime. Have you ever been in there in the daytime?
I haven't been in there in the day, no.
Oh my God, it looks weird. It looks so strange, yeah. And I always take a photo up from the balcony, and it's like people are just like, oh my God, look how tiny it looks. And then you compare that photo later in the night, and it's just like, oh my God, this is it's amazing. It's my favorite club without a doubt. I mean, also, you've been going to Ibiza for a lot of years. What's changed for you? Has it changed a lot over the years, in your opinion?
I suppose it's changed the trance music. It hasn't. You can't go there all year for trance. I mean, that stopped a long time ago. There's obviously more of a focus for people coming later in the year for trance, and for a long time there was Trance Week. But I still love the place. When I land, I still remember. I've been there so many times. It's still a nice buzz, getting there. But I suppose there's a bit going on the island as well, trying to reduce really the craziness that happens. The West End certainly changed. I've noticed. I walked up there a few times today. It's changed completely. Yeah.
It's all multicolored now. Have you seen they've painted it?
Oh, I haven't seen it. When did I see it? I saw it last year.
Some of the old, really famous spitting sawdust, dodgy bars like the Golden Gate, and now shops,
Yeah,
clothes shops. But they've had a really famous artist come in, and they painted it, and they put all these like covering over it, and it looks stunning. And he's a very famous artist, and it's all
yeah,
multicolored, and it's been a bit controversial. But apparently, he's done other locations around the world, and they've now become really solid tourist attractions, and it looks like a big rainbow, but
yeah,
it looks beautiful. I think I haven't seen it face to face yet. I've just seen it online. I know some of the locals aren't too happy, but I know many of them are. You did mention there with trance. Yeah, I thought trance was gonna. I just thought trance is going to start getting a bit stronger, but then there's a lot of elements of trance now moving into techno that I've
yeah.
been
There's
seeing
definitely a fair old crossover now, isn't there, between melodic
massively.
techno and trance, and also we're probably lacking a bit more progressive trance. I mean, I used to love the progressive trance as
Yeah,
well. There's not a lot of trance music that isn't trying to be the big track of the night. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And those are the tracks I think that we're missing at the minute. Is those tracks that the ones I always said would stay in, they'd stay in your box because they weren't the ones that just like, grabbed it and then they became a fad.
Yeah,
So that takes more of a sort of scene that's more into the journey style sets, the longer sets.
yeah.
Um, and the problem with the new generation is are they willing to be up for a journey or because of obviously their attention spans are so
It's
used
so,
to this throwaway 8 second,
yeah. I
scrolling.
I personally think that a lot of them don't even know that the techno that they're listening to has a trance orientation
No, I don't think
either.
they do.
Um, I was at Hideout Festival listening to a chap called Ben Hemsley, which I'm sure you're familiar with, one of his young up and coming.
I love what
Um,
he's doing. Yeah.
yeah, he plays all sorts of stuff through his sets, which is great. He kind of reminds me of like what Carl Cox used to do years ago. He'd just play everything all in one set. And I listened to him play at Hideout, and the biggest reaction of the night, I can't remember what tune it was, but it was a classic trance track. And this is it's 18, 19-year-olds, and they're
Yeah.
all going crazy. But I guarantee you, 99% of those 18, 19-year-olds won't know that that is 25 years old, older than them.
And they won't know if they peel back the curtain what they'll find. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully they will.
And also we're noticing with Kevin and Perry as younger people coming as well.
Yeah.
Is because our demographic for the first few years was very at 35 plus. But now we're seeing that they're bringing their kids with them and stuff like that. So the parents are educating their children. Let's talk about your record label.
I've got Create Music, which is run by Black Hole Recordings. Yeah, but basically Lange Recordings. I set up 2004 or something, and
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
worked about 6-7 years later. I started working closely with Enhanced Music,
Mm-hmm.
and they went through a phase where they were reducing what they were doing in the trance scene, and so I set up Create Music with Black Hole doing the distribution.
Mm-hmm.
Just basically because I was going to originally the plan was to do a bit more sort of techie stuff, a bit more tech trance. But really, it's just opened up now to be whatever. I mean, if I think something's creative, good, different, I'll put it out on Create Music.
Okay. And it was just obviously because of the amount of records you create, it was a natural progression to have your own label.
Yeah, to have
Yeah.
your own label is you don't feel that anything, you haven't got the pressure of trying to find a label all the time. Obviously, I do sign stuff to other labels if I think it's going to be right up their street.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to have that outlet, a place where I can throw something out. Even like a month later, it can just be out there.
So I had a good look at Lange recordings yesterday, and that was obviously an earlier period of your record label career. What were
Yeah.
the early challenges of running labels? Because it's very much a different ballgame nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, originally when I started, it was the whole, we were doing vinyl, so there was all
Pressing.
that complications. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very difficult now, though. I'd say it's more difficult now because the problem, I like to support smaller artists, try and get them some, exposure, and it's incredibly difficult on the streaming platforms to do that because
The volume of tracks.
it's all algo based as well.
Yep.
So if somebody hasn't got much of a following, then it's very difficult for them to take off, if you know what I mean. It's because the initial surge on things like Spotify is all about how many people are already sort of your followers, etc. So it's like social media. If you're starting quite low down, it's very difficult to get traction.
Yep. Another thing that I was talking about to Jules the other day, you now have to be an expert or have experts around you who can build a community.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's extremely hard to break through. And obviously, there's more tunes released every week than there was in the whole of 1999.
Yeah.
That's just crazy numbers, you know? And so
I
you could
know.
have all these tracks that could be missed. And I remember still in the early 2000s, people like Alex Ellinger and people like that who did Sweet Dreams with Colin Butts and people like that in Ibiza. They were playing me tracks that I thought would be absolutely like killer summer tunes that we never heard again, you know. So it's difficult then,
Yeah.
but now, just to even break through, I mean, I wouldn't want to try and get into that market. It must be very difficult.
I really feel for the young guys, you know, trying to do this. Either the DJs or the producers. I mean, it's so difficult to get off the ground at the minute.
Yeah. And
you know, but do it. Try your best. Just have
keep
fun
on,
with it. Is what I always say.
Everyone says to me, "How do I break through on social media?" Blah blah blah, and it's consistency. It's being just aggressively every day, making sure that you're putting some stuff out there, and not just the same stuff, different stuff behind the scenes. What you're doing that day, not what tune you've got, not what event you're playing at. People aren't interested in that. They're more interested in about you. I think that gets a lot more engagement from social media. And when I take over some, especially artists and celebrities, social media, when I'm advising on them, we generally find that is the problem, that they're just talking about what job they're doing or what show they're doing or what event they're doing. And I don't think the algorithm cares for that.
It's about connecting. It's about connecting. It's about being real. You know, I mean, I've probably spent far too much time posting flyers, doing the usual promo stuff. But
they don't get engagement. It doesn't get engagement.
They don't.
And it's not you. Yeah. It's the algorithm, because the algorithm the algorithm is purely designed to keep people on that network and to show as many ads as possible to those people to make as much money for Meta or whoever as possible. So if you're posting a picture of an event, a flyer, it probably won't get that much traction unless it's an announcement. But if you post a funny meme and people are sharing it, it means people are engaging with it and it will get a lot more interaction. Do you work with a wide bunch of producers within your label?
Yeah, not that many. I mean, to be honest with you, my label sort of paused again.
Has it? I don't know.
No, it did. No, it did pause. It paused 5 years ago. It sort of paused, and then I was just putting my own stuff out. And so I've only just really opened the gates again to working with other people on it. So yeah, I've just got a few up and coming people really that have become friends. Some of them. So yeah, but mainly it's my stuff at the moment. I'd say every sort of 3 or 4 releases, it's one of mine. So
do you know what, Stuart? It's a lot easier, isn't it? Just working by yourself, and just I find keeping everything just a little bit more. Just doing your own stuff is less complicated. Especially
I used to have a big team. I used to have a big team doing everything social media. Actually, I've stripped it right back.
Yeah,
and I actually prefer it because you can't be working in the studio all the time feeling inspired. I like getting a bit creative with how posts and stuff. I don't mind too much of social media, but I can see it is difficult keeping it all going, managing between it and being effective with your time.
It's lucky
something
you've got
I'm not.
You have a good community though, because you built your community up over years.
I have an incredible supportive community.
Yeah,
yes,
and you also done a huge amount of live streams over COVID as well, which really helped. Even though I believe your cat stopped one of them.
Oh, last week and the week before as well.
I'll never forget that. I was in the gym listening to one of your, I think it was a summer mix or something, and then all of a sudden it went quiet, and the cat jumped up and stopped it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a cat nut, and I was just in hysterics in the gym, going, "Oh my God, could you imagine?" But yeah, you did a lot of live stuff, live streaming in COVID.
Yeah.
Do you still do live streaming
that's when
now?
I started. Yeah, I still do it now. I don't do it as often. It's normally twice a month generally now, because obviously playing gigs on Fridays as well sometimes now. So I generally do them when I can do them.
Yeah. And
every
you're doing
Friday
it a
when
lot.
I can.
I mean, COVID was the perfect opportunity for that.
It was a great way to do longer sets as well. I was sometimes doing 4, 6, 8 hours. And I have to say, before that, I was getting a little bit cheesed off with what the EDM had done to the scene, you know. So for me, it was a real positive turnaround in that I was starting to play these long sets, and then I realised how amazing this music is. You know, when you start digging back into the old classics and stuff.
It's only since I started working with Nick, and we did one more time, that I'm now so much into my trance again. It is ridiculous. I've come full circle back into trance, and it's a beautiful music. It really is.
Once you've enjoyed it, it's in the blood. Yeah. You never really get rid of it, but it's great. Look, it's great to have those to enjoy. I mean, there's so much music now I love that perhaps I didn't even love 25 years ago, because I was more purely trance focused, but you know, and I just try and bring a few elements of that sometimes into what I'm doing. Is
there anyone we should be looking out for at the moment? That anyone that's piqued your interest? Any producers?
You know, I think one of the most underrated producers, he's actually a friend, and maybe I'm a bias, but Stephen Kirkwood.
Yes, we had him on Kevin and Perry.
You did. I mean, you know, he's done really well already, but he sends me his stuff all the time. And generally he's making a bit more sort of techno, but housey, kind of a little bit of ravey, old school ravey kind of sounding stuff. The power he's getting in it. He is a great producer.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. He does a lot with Shine as well, with Paul Van Dyke, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like he's not had some great success, but I still think he's underrated. His productions are phenomenal.
Do you think genres still matter in 2025?
I think genres matter because people want to know whether they're going to like. I mean, it's a shame that the people are like that, because you can go to a night that perhaps you wouldn't expect you'd like, and you'll discover something new. So it's a shame people kind of need to see it pigeonholed into a certain, you know, genre. But seeing I mean, you're right earlier, what you mentioned earlier on about the communities. They're different communities build around these genres, and the trance one has one for me the best community.
Musically educated, I think they love
musically educated, and they feel the music.
The music. They're not there to take photos, you know. They're not there to say they've been somewhere, you know. I think that's a very big difference now, where we're seeing a lot of people going to shows because they can then post on Instagram that they've been to see XYZ at Ushuaia or whatever.
But you're always going to get that with mainstream stuff. You know, you're going to get people on the fringes who perhaps, you know, enjoy music, enjoy a night out, but perhaps aren't as passionate about it as, you know, don't want to really get down to it like we do.
But the trance, they are very passionate, and they can get very argumentative as well over what is trance. You know, there can be a lot of arguments going on in those trance groups.
They've got milder these days, though.
Yes, they have.
They've become more open-minded. They definitely have.
When we first started, we had to be kind of. Every time I posted anything about trance, I always had to be very careful because I didn't want to upset a certain part of the community, you know. So how many years have you been doing this now? So you must have been doing this, 25?
What, professionally? Yeah. 90, I suppose, 98 was when I kind of called it. So 27 years.
So what is the secret to your success, your long success in this?
Well, I don't know. I'm winging it, mate. I'm winging it.
Oh, that's what I say to everyone. I mean, I'm absolutely winging everything I do. Is there anything you wish you did differently, like earlier in your career?
Do you know what? No.
Right. I thought you would.
I know where I could have achieved a lot more in the sense of success, but no, I wouldn't change a thing. because it's been an amazing journey, and I'm truly grateful for where I'm at now.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't risk changing anything.
I see your name in trance groups, and I see your name in discussions online more now than ever. You know and that's a testament to your career and where you've gone. You know, with your with what you've produced and managed. So I think you're getting more and more.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you won't notice it yourself, you know, but I have, because I remember when I was just getting back into my trance when we first started Kevin and Perry. I knew of you and some of the tracks, but now I can definitely see that people love your music, you know, and without a doubt, as soon as we announced the lineups for Kevin and Perry, everyone's excited that Lange is there, you know. It's just no, it's a good thing. And so I thought you would say, I wish I went into DJing earlier or something like that.
No.
No,
No, there's no point looking back. I mean, like I say, there's obviously obvious points where I could have worked harder there or focused on that there, but that's hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's been an amazing journey, and you know, and I'm happier than ever. Let's face it.
What keeps you creatively inspired after all these years?
It's just trying to get better at producing.
So I've had you for, oh my Lord, over an hour. Can I ask you, which you'll probably won't be able to answer me, what would be your one more tune of the night if you had to play one more tune?
That's a real tricky one, because it really depends what the night is. I mean,
Okay.
Follow Me is often the last tune of the night for me at a lot of events.
Yep.
Normally because I forget to play it, and I go, oh yeah, I said I was going to play that.
I'm surprised people aren't screaming at you.
So that's the obvious one. I don't know. I mean, there's so many good tunes that can finish a night, you know. But generally, sometimes I do like to end on something a bit softer. Partly. I mean, if you're talking end of night, it's still nice to end on something a bit softer. I remember Robert Miles' Children was all about.
Yes,
Robert Miles said that track was about, you know, chilling people down a bit before they go home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happiness Happening's another one of mine that springs to mind. But yeah, I can't really say that. I could list so many tracks.
Do you close the night much nowadays?
Not really, because I'm not the hardest DJ, you know, style wise. Most nights, so.
Because another I've been speaking to a few other DJs, and they're like, I don't really close anymore. I used to, but the crowds are thinner these days when it's going out. I remember back in the day, hate to use that expression, but everyone used to be there right to the end, and the cheering and one more tune. And I was speaking to the photographer Mark de Groot. Do you know Mark? Very prominent photographer, creator in Ibiza, and I wanted to get his insight into what it's like to be a creator and videographer, etc. in Ibiza. And he said to me something really interesting. He goes, I can't remember the last time I was in a club and I heard that, you know, the people going crazy at the end, going, one more tune. And I was just like, you know what, that's quite right. I think people generally go home a lot earlier now.
Well, it could be, if you're certainly talking about trance, it could be because, you know, we are all getting a bit older. But also that a lot of clubs don't like you going out running over time either. So unless you stop early, a lot of the time you're getting that, no, don't do it.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of clubs and they've literally, the music's gone off halfway through the track.
Yeah, they normally kill it from the main board.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been there in LA before once, where I was people shouting when I was starting, and I could see the police moving towards me. I was like, okay,
yeah. No, it's happened to us fairly recently, where the tunes just went off halfway through, and it just like the DJ was not happy because it was their last tune, and it was just like, oh, come on, you know. But the fines are not worth it.
It's regulations.
I mean, I think it's over-regulated to an extreme, but
absolutely.
But I've got to say thank you very much for your time. This has been amazing, Stuart.
An absolute pleasure, Dexter. Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm going to obviously list all of the tracks that we spoke about below, and I will be seeing you in Amnesia in a few months.
Can't wait. Absolutely can't wait, mate.
Yep, can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, buddy.